But as long as we say to ourselves we will do as we please, the same thing it falls into our moral structure. The morality of the people is falling, and falling seriously.
Good morning, everyone. I hope all is well in these unfortunately troubling times. Bring in another video yet again. This one's going to be, the One Great Work Warriors. Myself, Chris Jansen, Rick, Derek, Bartolocelli, Jerry, and Jim. We recently did another video, and this one was the methods of manipulation. And, so many people have talked about, manipulation itself, but a lot of people don't, dive deeper into the methods, how is this being implemented? Like, how is this being, pushed through? Like, how is it being, pushed onto our consciousness? So some of the things that I had talked about was the manipulation of our fears, especially our primal fears. And this is something that Mark Passio talked about earlier in his work. You have the fear of predators, you have the fear of abandonment, you have the fear of darkness, and then of course you have the fear of chaos. But I think all of those are under the umbrella of the fear of death. So that was one of the main things that I had, had discussed, was the fear of those four, but mainly the fear of death and how these fears can be twisted and used as a means of, health control. So, and then another one of the methods of manipulation that I had talked about was the media, how the media has been used, how it has been used as a tool in pretty much every society of tyranny, to install its tyranny. So if you look at how Nazi Germany, who was bringing in the propaganda? It was the media. Same thing in Gestapo Russia. It was the media, how using its form of indoctrination, using its form of influence. So, you can look at all forms throughout history and see how the media has played a role to manipulate, human consciousness for the ones in power. And then lastly, one of the topics that I talked about was the use of subversion, ideological subversion, and how they subvert or how they get us to subvert our own principles, our own integrity. And subversion is just, it's just controlling the perception of reality, bombarding them with so much information, bombarding them with so much fear, bombarding them with so much lower forms of vibration, like animalistic forms of consciousness, to the point to where the individuals in a given society can't discern what's real. They can't discern truth from falsehood. They can't discern good from bad. So then ultimately what ends up happening is they end up letting their guard down, and they end up letting their enemy into their own home. And that's what we have seen. And this was brought to, brought to the public health awareness by Yuri Bezmonov, but he broke it down into four tenets. You had demoralization, where you just demoralize the individual, you demoralize their principles, you demoralize their values, you demoralize the family unit, you demoralize anything that they find any kind of, higher value in. You demoralize the truth, you pretty much turn them into animals. And, they start to have no bearing on what's right or wrong. And then that leads into the second stage, which was destabilization. Well, if the people have been demoralized, if the people can't discern truth from falsehood, if the people can't, understand what's right and wrong, then the external reality or the environment starts to crumble. So you destabilize the workforce, you destabilize any form of communication with others, you destabilize anything that had true moral value. You destabilize their spiritual aspect. You destabilize their economy. You know, you just break down all forms of the external reality, because the first method is an internal breakdown. The second method is an external breakdown, which leads to a crisis, which is the third tenet under ideological subversion. You know, how the crisis was usually an internal conflict, you know, like a civil war, a shift in power, a change in, you know, regime, or you had an external invasion and a external war. And then that led to the last step, the fourth step, which was normalization. And normalization was about stability. You know, once the new dictator had come into power, you know, he wants to stabilize his power. He wants to maintain his power. So they call that normalization, because this is going to be the new dictatorship. And then also, too, is you go in and you wipe out and you clean out any ones who, you know, who brought you into power. You clean slate. So those were some of the three things that I talked about. You know, all the other gentlemen talked about their own forms of methods. But if you want to check out the video, you know, of course, as always, you can check my tab link. It's already uploaded on Odyssey, the One Great Word Network, BitChute, you know, Rumble, the, you know, hell, the usual players, you know, in the game. But you know, like I said in the video, until we learn these methods of manipulation, don't think for 1 second that we're going to pull ourselves out of these methods. So please check out the video. And Chris is going to be doing a live stream next Thursday, December 7th. Of course, you can get to his links, you know, throughout the video. You know, so if anyone wants to join the round table, you are more than welcome. It's actually encouraged. You know, we always try to encourage more conversation, and we try to encourage individuals to join these roundtables. So he'll send out a link in our Telegram group. If you aren't familiar with that, then hell, again, it'll be in the video on the QR code. So all you have to do is just scan it and it'll take you to our tab link. So try to enjoy the rest of your day. And as Made in Liberty always says, peace the fuck out.
The effects are inherent in their causes. We observe every day that causes produce consequences. But most people are so much interested in their own ideas about consequences that they overlook the problem of causation.